Hey guys, how are you? I hope y'all doing great. I am fine. I had to try to waste some time here at the playground because that couple with the aggressive dogs are here. I might switch it up today, but I didn't come yesterday. The energy was wild and we are at a full moon and I am feeling it. I don't think all are aggressive. I think a lot I think most full moons, if not all full moons, will get you more in touch with your intuitive side and reveal things. That's what moons are good for, full moons. But yeah, yesterday I did not leave the house because the energy was wild. I could feel it just through the traffic outside the window, and the neighbor downstairs, she's on one. She's been on one for like 48 hours now. I still heard her before I left going on and on. It reminds me of me being a redhead, as we both are. It reminds me of me at like 22-ish, somewhere in there, because I had not healed at all. I was very much trying to figure everything out for myself. I was quick to get hot and, you know, throw things or just fly off the handle really quick, the typical redhead. And I hear her doing that a lot. And I don't know if they know that the walls are thinner than they think, or maybe it's just because I have no furniture, but it's working out for me because I can feel the energy and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be out there with all that. So I'm just gonna chill, even though I miss my exercise. I miss being in nature. And I had to roll the windows up because I don't know if you can hear the cicadas from inside the car are sounding like maniacs. Imagine if I was outside the car right now. They are also going wild, but that's just the South this time of year. I don't think it has anything to do with the energy. Update on my license. I finally got my license. I'm not gonna show my address, and plus I think it's backwards. But anyway, if you can see without me even turning this around, it says June 10th is when this was mailed. So it just got put in my mailbox. I didn't go out yesterday. So yesterday or today it got put in my mailbox. So things that make you go, They told me that it was mailed May the 30th. And I had my mail held for 30 days at the post office so that it didn't go in my mailbox. So no one would have the opportunity, unless you worked for the post office, to touch it. And so that's been up about a week and a half, something like that. And I had been checking my mail again, but I was like, F it. It's somebody else is gonna get it. If they want it, let them have it. I've gone this long without a hard copy license. But yeah, it was printed by the state on May 30th, mailed and postmarked June 10th. And what today is, the 8th, July 8th. It just now made it into my mailbox. So I don't think that was the post office. I think somebody probably put it in there, but I won't name any names. I've had other mail delivered to actually the same hot-headed redhead's apartment beneath me before, and I know because there was a picture of her apartment and other mail that was also delivered with it sitting outside, which is why I knew where to go to track it down. So I went there, and from the time that I received the picture to the time that I got home, which it's like 15 minutes anywhere, but I was just at the park, like down the street, so it was like 5 minutes till I got back home. And the mail was already inside of that apartment, no longer outside. And I knocked and knocked and knocked and knocked, and her car was home, but she never would answer the door. And when I finally got the mail, my mail had been opened. Why? I don't know. It clearly says apartment 3. It says Carrie, but yet it was open. So, it's par for the course when you go through things like this. I'm going to get out and do my walk, but I just wanted to give that update while I'm in here in case it's too loud to list specifics and then be like, relayed clearly. All right, I'm back. Just a few seconds for you guys, but a few minutes for me. I did move to a different part of the park. People with the dogs left, but people with kids came immediately after, and I wanted to make a video and not be around people. Still trying to social distance today because you never know what this energy is going to bring. I'm telling you, it's truly wild for me. I don't know about you guys. I hope not, but I feel it strong. So you can always sharpen that. Just be still. Be still and listen and watch and observe. That's how I know pretty much everything that's going on around me, because I study. When people think that I might be, you know, just isolating, I am isolating, but I'm also studying my surroundings at all times, because I learned how to do that very well in the first like 20 years of my life. And even though I'm much more extroverted now, when I choose to be, that's important to note, when I choose to be, I can when I want to, and I'm good at it when I want to. But when do I really want to? I have to read the energy and know when it feels safe for me to do so, when it feels fun, or, you know, when I really want to reach out and help someone, or whatever reason it may be. It has to be really worth it for me to open up to everyone or a certain situation, a time and place. It has to be just chef's kiss, or really someone's in dire need. I feel much better getting on here and talking to you guys, because you can listen to me if you choose. You cannot if you choose. That's fine. But I don't have to dumb myself down on here for anyone. I don't have to be confronted with hatred. I don't have to feel negative, low vibrating energy on here. I can always choose to ignore it, which I do if anything negative comes along, and I'm not forcing myself on anyone. Although I am so pleased to have my new viewers, my new subscribers have gone up like 20 in like a week, and I'm so excited because I will celebrate one like it's 1 million. You better bet. Because I'm all about having new people join me. I want to help others. I want to build a community here that is conducive for healing. And anything that I've been through will never be in vain. And if I can help just one person with that, just one day, one moment of their entire lives, then that was worth starting this channel for. So, welcome. I love to see it. I love to have you. Makes me so happy. So, thank you guys, and for the likes and shares. I know that a lot of people see me that I don't get credit for, and that's fine too, because at least the message is getting out. I don't do it for clout. I don't do it for money. I don't do it for notoriety, fame. I don't do it for any of that. I do it to honestly help people. So even if I see the shares, or I know that people have told me in the past that they've seen my videos when I barely had any subscribers, people will pull up to me and honk and wave that I don't know now. Like, I know people see my stuff, but it doesn't matter to me how they see it. I don't care if you record it and you show it to people outside of YouTube so that I don't get credit for it. I do not care. At least they're seeing it, and hopefully it'll help them, even if they have to put on the public persona that I don't like her because you don't like her. You told me not to like her. whatever. It's getting out there, and that's all that matters to me. But yeah, if you feel, you know, the energy is off, like I've told you guys before, duck on out for a little while. Go find one of your safe spaces, whether it be home or just, you know, by the water, in a park, somewhere that you can distance yourself to where you can still experience the things that make you happy. Get out in nature, or do the things that you like to do without having to be exposed to aggressive energy in a time like this, for me anyway. And I was thinking about having more viewers at the same time that I was noticing that, like, when I looked at my analytics, my #1 short had changed from, it used to always be one that's private, one where I was asking for donations for me and my son when we were in a hotel close to 2 years ago. But I have those things private, and I should have surrendered to God and never asked for money in the first place, because he would have made it all right no matter what way that he chose to make it all right for me. I had to learn that the hard way, and I got very much beat up for asking for money, even though I am grateful for the donations that we got, because it did help keep us afloat for about 3 weeks. It was amazing. Because first people gave, and that was great, but it allowed me to have that little bit of time with my son before the rug really got yanked out from under me. It was only halfway out at that point, and I kept saying to him at the time, at least we still have each other. At least we still have each other. And I didn't know that I only had, I don't want to cry about that. Why am I crying? I've been doing so good. I kept telling him, you know, no matter what had gone wrong, even though I would cry in the shower, that God, please make it stop. Please make it stop. Which, it's okay to do that and feel all those things, but just know that everything is going to work out for your greater good. You are being realigned. All of these things are happening for a reason. Even though they're very, very painful, just know that God works in mysterious ways, and He will put everything back together better than you ever could have prayed for. I've said this in past videos. I'll never stop saying that, because it is the ultimate truth of it all. No matter how bad it hurts, or who you have to be estranged from, or who you have to flat out cut out of your life forever, that it's for a good reason. Those things happen to show you what was what, who can and cannot go with you in your new phase of life. Once you let that old construct collapse, because it wasn't meant for you. That's why all of it is happening. It wasn't meant for you anyway. So something had to bring it down. Towers are good. Tower moments, when things fall, they're good. Even if you're in the tower. I wasn't in the tower. The things in my life had to fall in the tower, but I got out of the tower. Even if I had to be forced out of the tower by being locked out of my uncle's house, I was out of the tower. And even though things have happened that have hurt me to let go of, I was never directly, like, physically hurt. I always had everything that I needed, and much more. God always knows exactly what you need, and right when you need it. You have to trust Him and have faith that He's going to show out for you, and He will. He will provide for you everything that you need. So walk in faith, not fear. It's amazing once you learn how to surrender. But I was thankful. I was really thankful, even though I was panicking at first and spiraling, and did ask for donations, and they did help me. I'm grateful because it kept me with my son for a little while longer. It kept us isolated from the things that were threatening us and hurting us on a daily basis while we were still together. So, but I have that stuff hidden, and that was like my number one short at the time. And people were even being mean on there, saying, I donated this, I donated that. And like, there were no donations. They were just like kids, because the video was of my son. So other kids started chiming in and being just kids. But my new short that is number one is the one of my uncle's yard, when I was saying X marks the spot. And I wanted to give quick context on that, and if you haven't seen it, you can go watch it. It's back. I mean, like, I want to say sometime in November of 2023, shortly after I started my YouTube channel. But X marks the spot. There was a spot in my uncle's backyard that he had cleared out, and he had backed up his pickup truck in between two houses, which were not part of his driveway. It was in the yard in between two houses where he backed his pickup truck, and it was a pickup truck that he never uses. And he had to fill up air in the tires to drive it around, because they would deflate, and it just sat in his driveway. But he had aired up the tires, backed it up, lowered the tailgate, opened the gate up to the yard, and it just sat there. And then he always had this pile of sticks, this huge pile of sticks. And he would pay my youngest son to always, whenever we went over there, before we lived with him, he would pay him like $5 to go around and pick up all the sticks out of his yard, and he would throw them in the back of his truck, the one that he didn't use. And then out of nowhere, I don't know why, I never thought about it or asked him, because it's his house, I don't care, but the sticks got moved to this certain spot at the edge of his yard before it met the where trees started, where the fence line started. It was just this dirt spot, and it was bare, with like no grass over it. It was dirt, so it was like, why is there not grass here? And then he also piled all of those sticks up real high onto that spot. Cool, no big deal, whatever. You want them there, you want them there. Well, I would come home from delivering cakes when I lived with him, and he would be so focused on that spot, always crouching in front of it, like looking, like really studying and focusing and being like very hyper fixated on this spot. And I drove in after delivering cakes so many times where he didn't hear me and he didn't pay attention to me being there because he was so focused, that I would just come home and see him crouching, staring at the spot. And I was like, what? That's what made it weird to me. And then just putting all those things together, like the sticks didn't used to be there. Why are they there now? Why is this spot bare? There's no grass there. And then all of a sudden, the day that he backed the truck up, things were starting to get real weird. Like, he had already started treating me like real bad by then. And I had already recorded the video of him and his girlfriend harassing me while I was trying to work and make cakes in my home, which was his house. That video is also on there. It also has like 2,700 views, but the X marks the spot video has surpassed that even now, which is weird. But there's really no context unless you watch all of my videos from the start, and some of them are still private. Not many, really, just the ones that talk about court are private, because I've made a lot of them public now, except the ones with CPS or court or, you know, all of that stuff. Even some people have seen that. But anyway, so the sticks were gone the day that he backed the truck up. And so I was like, what is he doing? Why is the truck here? Why are the sticks gone? And then he put a chair in that spot. And so that's why I was like, X marks the spot, because there's something going on with this spot where this chair is. I don't know what it is, but it's ever changing. And now that the truck is here, everything's cleared off and there's a chair there, as if to tell someone who's not him where the spot is, now that there's no like landmarks to distinguish this spot is the spot for something. And then Colin and I, my son and I, went somewhere, and we came back later and he wasn't there. And he wasn't there like late at night, which was very unusual. And then his girlfriend, who lived across the street, who had her own key, could just come in whenever she wanted. And we were sitting at the table eating, and she took food upstairs to whoever was staying in the upstairs of his house. I don't know who that person, I do know who that person is, but I'm not going to say. Anyway, she came up to us while we were eating, and she's like, he's in the hospital. Would you like to know why? And I said, you can tell me, but I don't know what I'm going to do about it. I was like, because he's treated me horribly, so I'm pretty much done, like, going out of my way for him now, like, as of before now. So, and I just assumed it was his heart. He had open heart surgery. I had been there with him through all of that. He took medicine on the daily, so got checkups for it. And so I assumed that it was with his heart. And I even made comments and videos about how after he got home from the hospital, she was over there smoking in the house, and she's a nurse. So why would she be doing that with someone with a known heart issue? And then later, I came to find out that he went to the hospital because he said, I don't know why he really went to the hospital, but he told everybody it was because I had poisoned him. And my whole reason for having a lot of fingers pointed at me is because I ate food that him and his girlfriend cooked for me that I ate, and it made me very, very ill. And I had told my son we were done eating their food. And so that caused, that became like them grasping at straws for anything and everything that I was doing wrong to have something to blame on me. That was the thing that they grabbed onto, because that's all that they could find. And so it became a source of contention that I had said that we were not doing that, and we kept food in my bedroom, and we ate out a lot, or I would just, you know, fix something that wasn't a leftover and had to be set out or left in the refrigerator or whatever. We wouldn't eat their food or leave anything behind that we were going to go back to. So yeah, he ended up trying to flip it and say that I had somehow poisoned him and say that I was the one. And then I also later found out that he tried to get a restraining order against me, which, because he was afraid of me, after he had done all of these same things to me in his house that I had recorded, he tried to go and to the law and say that I had done these same things to him. So when my video, the one that is my highest rated short now, highest viewed short now, I think it has 20 likes. It's not my highest liked thing, but it's maybe my highest liked short. I don't know. It's pretty popular now. But the same day that happened was the same day that he chose to automatically start flipping all of the things that he had done to me onto him as if he were the victim. So that is the backstory for that. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. I still don't know what was in that backyard, and as of now, it's not my business anymore, but it always wondered, like, was there a body in the backyard? Was there something? He always had this I wouldn't know if I wouldn't ever call someone his girlfriend, because I've never seen him be affectionate with anyone. But there was this girl that he used to hang out with all the time, and all of a sudden she just up and vanished from his life. I'm not saying from the face of the earth, but she left furniture in his garage that he wanted me to post on Marketplace to sell. And as far as I'm concerned, it's still there unless he's gotten rid of it. No one would ever buy it. I didn't have any bites, any questions, nothing on it. So as far as I know, it's still there. But it was a giant piece of heavy antique furniture that if she was really into stuff like that, she wouldn't have just left behind. So it made me think, like, where is she? She's always been around. I think her name was Tammy. But anyway, I've had dreams where he did several people wrong, and I know that crossing a threshold like the things that he did for me, to me, with him saying how much he loved me all of a sudden when he had never said that in our whole life. You don't just cross that threshold easily unless you've done it many times before, and it was too easy for him to do those things to someone who he said he cared about so much if he hadn't already crossed that threshold many times before. It was just too easy. So he's definitely got some skeletons in his closet, if not his backyard. So that is the backstory for that. In case anyone is ever curious, I'll put something about that in the description if they ever, so they don't have to watch this whole video. I try to put things that might just be interesting on the fly up front so that you don't have to get into the message. But my message today was not only about this energy, this aggression that I feel around me, things coming to a precipice for others, a cliff, a crisis, because sometimes you get irritated out of nowhere. Sometimes these energies do make you irritable and unsettled and just unrest. Sometimes they can do that, but other times, most times, I would find that there's a reason for them. And if it is multiple people whom I know are associated with each other, then there's a reason for it. And so The Wrinkle in Time, I was watching The Deep End with the Taylor Welch that I have critiqued many times. And I say critique because I don't want to bash him at all. He is what I would call a Christian shock jock, which he says he's not. His channel is not for ministry at all. And he very much downplays discernment when it comes to other people discerning him. And he's projected saying that anyone that talks about discernment is just like a wounded child that was never listened to as a kid, and that they are just like crying for attention when they say stuff like that, and that it's not really discernment. They don't really know what discernment is. But I think a lot of people see him as that wounded child. I think that a lot of the shock jock things that he does are defense mechanisms. I feel like he's been bullied. He's not been listened to in his life, that he has a lot of shadow work to do. And so I say that with love, because there's a lot of things that he says, even though I tune out to him a lot of times, because he'll just throw zingers in. He'll say a lot of things that make a lot of sense and can be helpful to a lot of people, and I resonate with. But then he'll come and kind of crap all over it with these zingers, where he's like taking shots at people or putting people down, and I'm just like, don't do that. Don't take all of that valuable stuff that you did and just crap on it and make it where people can't sync up with you and resonate with you, because you're being mean. You're being a bully all of a sudden. He even does it to his co-host, and I've seen his co-host, give him a look, or give the producer a look, and he'll be like, what's that for? Like, because he was being mean and he didn't want to say it on camera or on the podcast. But if they laugh, and they're laughing about something that he's saying that they've talked about before, and it's just weird and uncanny that he's mentioning it, he'll be like, what's so funny? Like, he can't stand when they laugh about something, but he'll just blatantly be rude to one of them and be like, you need to be more, I forget what he said to his co-host, but I felt bad for him because he's very passive, as to where Taylor's very like in your face. And I'm like, why would anybody be like rude to this guy? And he's your business partner, and here you are just blatantly telling him you need to be more animated. I think that's what he said. But anyway, I feel for him because he's got a lot of shadow work to do, and I'm not sure if he's really on board with shadow work, but he's read the Bible. He knows about sermons. He knows about messages. I really like the one that he said about altars, because it's a sermon that you will not hear at church, and that's true. I don't think I've ever heard a sermon on altars, but he was listing the topic after topic of things that you've heard a million times that preachers love to go on and on about. But he rides the fence. He still will like tear down Christianity. He'll tear down, even though he says he's a card-carrying Christian, and that he's very honest about how he would use it as a college degree, like to say I'm a Christian, to dispel anything that anybody might say to him about not knowing God or not knowing anything about the Bible, that he was a card-carrying Christian, but that a lot of Christians do not allow God to break their heart for anything, to see what he's going to do in their lives once that happens, once the change happens. And I thought that was brilliant. But then on the other hand, he'll be like, spirituality is people that are trying to control the hierarchy, when I don't. Like with spirituality, I've made videos saying that I don't think there should be any hierarchy, that I think that we are all equal. I think the titles are useless, and they're created for power, control, for fear. It's part of the fear-based society. I don't believe in hierarchy. I believe that we are all one. You're me, I'm you. I don't think that we should put anybody above anybody else. And me and him included, no matter who has a platform. I believe everybody should have a platform, whether you put it online or not. You should speak your truth. You should tell your story. If you know something others don't know that might be helpful to them, by all means, put it out there. Help them. Help a brother. It's not anything that should be coveted. So, yeah, I appreciate him, but he walks the line a lot, and I think it's just semantics. I think he's even said it's semantics, but yes, he continues to do it. But the one about hierarchy, he was talking about how, or not hierarchy, but the altars, talking about how altars are built, they're made to be destroyed and then rebuilt, and then the same, keep doing it. It's a way to level up. It is a way to ascend. Once you understand something, once you have conquered that like demon, which is the altar in your life, then move on to the next. New levels, new devils. It's the same thing. He's just saying it in relation to altars, and not the latter vocabulary. But he was talking about how things are about to change in your life when everything just feels weird for like no reason. Like you get up and it's like being in the twilight zone. Like everything just feels weird. And I feel like that is where I am at in this point of my life. I feel like everything feels weird, and someone in the comments called it a wrinkle in time, and I thought that was brilliant. I thought that was a genius way to describe it, because I love the book The Wrinkle in Time. I read it in 8th grade, and it is very spiritual, if you ask me, like multi-dimensional. Like it's amazing. It was something that I had never opened my mind up to at that point in my time, and I love to read. So in 8th grade, hearing about, you know, mediums, happy mediums and things like that, I was like, it just was amazing. So The Wrinkle in Time has always been close to my heart, but to describe this moment in time as a wrinkle in time, as this moment where things are about to irreversibly change for everyone that has been involved in my situation, it's monumental. Like, we're at the pinnacle of this change, and I think that we should all embrace it. I think that you should surrender to the flow. I don't think that you should be angry about it. I don't think you should be nervous, anxious, fearful of it. You should embrace it. Change is the only constant in our lives, and nothing can last forever. So no matter who you are or what you've done, whether it's been for the good or the bad or somewhere in between, you should embrace that, because it's going to bring in the new. The tower is going to fall, and whether hopefully you're not inside of that tower, but even if you are, tower moments are beautiful, because it means that things were built on a faulty foundation, and that gives you the opportunity to start again. And when you know, have given yourself permission to wake up and to walk in your purpose, to rebuild with that foundation that's sturdy, stable, that's built solid with God, with source, whatever you choose to call it. Even if you don't choose to cite anything, and you're just starting over, and you're not allowing anyone to come in and be low vibrational in your life, if that's all you want to call it, that's fine. It's important. Just at that just calling it that is important, because you have eliminated things that cannot go to the next level. But when you rebuild on that foundation, you will not put certain ingredients back into the soup. So it's a very important time to be embracing things, even if there is consequences and karma to be received, because that's going to change your life. It's going to get you out of what you were in. If you choose to go back to that and repeat that cycle, then you need to go back and repeat that cycle. The only way that you're going to learn and close out the cycle is if you choose to learn from it, to heal from it, to close it out and move forward without it. If you don't, then you're on that hamster wheel all over again, you know. I hate it for you. It's exhausting. I have been on the hamster wheel. I've repeated one cycle at least twice in both of my marriages. That's what I'm talking about. I had a marriage with a Pisces, had a son with that marriage, Aquarius. Same thing. Married another Pisces, another Aquarius son. Same cycle twice. So I speak from experience. I'm not putting any of you down because of it, and I'm not showing myself grace also, because I'm not putting myself down for it anymore. And I used to. How stupid. You did the same thing. Even though they appeared to be different, they were the same thing, dressed up in a different package. I don't have any regrets. I have those beautiful 2 Aquarius sons who are very independent, strong mind, strong willed, out there on their own path and their own journey. I send them love and light. I have no regrets, but I did repeat almost the exact same cycle twice. It just looked like a different book, but it wasn't. Had a different jacket cover on it, but it was the same damn book twice. So, and I don't think I've ever read the same book twice. Some people like to do that. I've never understood those people. I'm not one of them. But yeah, The Wrinkle in Time, it feels very strange. Even when I get up in my apartment, something that I've looked at 100 times, hundreds of times now, those feel weird. I'm kind of going through the motion. It's gonna be that point in time where you've put in all this work, and that's when you're not on the precipice of a crisis. That's when you are receiving dharma from the tower that you are not inside, that is collapsing, that you did not do. You got yourself out of the tower, or something else got you out of the tower, and you have rebuilt your firm foundation away from that, and you are just watching. You know, only with my eyes will I see um, the reward of the wicked. And that's what I'm doing right now. Psalms 91, I read it every day. But that's what I'm seeing, and it's in the wrinkle of time before all of that collapses, and I'm starting to feel it. You know, as above, so below. I'm starting to feel what has happened in the spiritual realm before it happens in the physical realm. And I think a lot of that aggression around me, I don't think all of it has to do with the full moon. I think that exacerbates it. But just that wrinkle of time before everything comes to fruition for others that are in the tower. And when I say tower, for those of you that don't know, I'm talking about tarot. I think it's an excellent way to describe events and people in your life, whether you read tarot or not. I think the descriptors of each card, both upright and reverse, are excellent ways to describe anything and everything that could possibly happen in your life. So being an all-encompassing word for a character or an event, or a place or anything that you could possibly be going through, just naming the card tells you everything that you need to know about it. So it's not demonic. I don't care who tells you that, but it's not. That is just something that people will label it when they want to judge you and say that you are not as good as they are because you are not going to church. That's all that it is. So just take it as a bunch of words hurled as insults that are projections, because they shall not judge. I've been reading Luke. I'm still on my Bible journey. And even though I do not take it as face value and never will, I will stand firm on that, because I believe that there's a lot of things in the Bible that can teach us many great things about this life. God has given us some tools by working through others and writing that, but I do not believe that it is all completely face value true exactly how it is written that this happened. But I'm on Luke, nevertheless. I'm on Luke, I'm still reading it, and that was something that I read last night, which I've heard many times, but judge not unless you want to be judged yourself. So yeah, a lot of Christians do that, and I hate it. I'm sorry, Christians, that you do. And that was something that Taylor Welch is honest about how they are in church like it's all in vain. They're worshiping in vain. Not all of it, but a lot of people will use it like a degree. They will use it like, well, I'm a Christian. Like they could say whatever they want. That just excuses them from all of the judgment, even though the Bible that they read and stand upon and will cite when it suits their narrative or whatever agenda they're trying to push. But when it comes to the judgment part, they don't think that that applies to them, that being a Christian, having that degree in Christianity or that card carrying, you know, Christian that they are, because they make it into the door of the church, or they tithe, or, you know, that he says that's just following the rules. I say, you're not really a Christian, you're just following the rules. You're not giving God the dominion over your heart, over your beliefs, over the way that you walk and you talk and you live your life. And once you've done that, everything else falls into place. That is the change that you want to see. That is the manifestation that he speaks about being a downside to spirituality. I love when people talk about things as they are currently doing them, that when they are like a walking contradiction. I love it because it shows how close they are to being at that epiphany, to being at that aha moment, that light bulb going off. Because first they will be in denial about it, and then something will happen and it'll just be like, aha, eureka, I am doing it already, although I am talking about how it's impossible. That he talks about the downside to spirituality is that we think we create our own reality, and we do, and he's done that and doing so for himself in the very moment that he says that spirituality is bad for saying that, and that it's not true. That he has this podcast that it's blown up. It could have remained an idea. It could have remained just a scribble on a piece of paper. It could have remained part of a conversation that he had with a buddy, or a colleague. But it's not. He had to put energy behind that and bring that to fruition. And God did allow it. But God created that opportunity, but it's what are you going to do with that opportunity? What have you done with it to make it what it is? That is creating your own reality. And he's doing that as he sits there and says that it's a fallacy to say that you can do that, or that that's somehow true. As he has done it, and as he is sitting there on the platform in which he brought into his reality and made it what it is, with his personality, with his essence, with his authenticity, with everything, even if he's still in his defense mechanism as being that shock jock, that bully. He still has some work to do. We all have work to do. Our shadow work is never done. I feel like he's on the verge of realizing, I think, to be fair to him, that he needs to do these things. It's just no one is holding that mirror up for him. No one is, and maybe he'll watch this one day. I love to be a mirror for people. I love to hold up the mirror and say, look, like, constructively, because I've been there and I've done this work on myself. It's a 180. Like, once you know, you can't not know. So you're never going to be able to go back to putting your head in the sand. You have to make the changes, or you have to just keep repeating the same cycle and being low vibrational. There's two choices. And if it's such an epiphany, you will know that you have to start walking in the opposite direction. You have to start making yourself into a healed individual, someone that is an asset to humanity, that they can learn from you, and that what you've been through is not in vain, and how you can just keep on that path and keep working on yourself and keep working on yourself and be better than you were the last day, better than you were yesterday, every single day. So it turns into a lifestyle. And before you know it, like, without being proud, with still being humble about it, you can look back and see how far you've come. Because just like the girl below me in that apartment, I'm not that hot-headed redhead that's throwing things around, that's throwing a temper tantrum, that's being, mad. Like, I'm not that person anymore. And that's been many, 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 many moons ago. But I have had to go through many levels in my life where I shed versions of myself that were like that. Maybe not as bad, but even as of 2 years ago, I was shedding versions of myself that were not helpful to me, that they were hurting my progress. They were holding me back. That's where people wanted me to stay and celebrated that and threw fuel on the fire, trying to keep me there and have those, flames rise higher and higher, because it kept me from advancing. They didn't want me to do that. They don't want you to do that. So you have to learn to be able to recognize it. And even when you don't have the support of anyone but yourself and God, keep moving in that direction every single day. Baby steps until it becomes your lifestyle. And then you won't even blink at it. Like, it's not going to bring you down anymore. It's not even a choice. You'll just know, divert, pivot. It's not for you. You're not going to give it any energy. You're not going to let it be part of your psyche or envelop you in any way. It's not going to be your address anymore. But yeah, I love when people say that things are not possible and that they're wrong as they're doing them, because that means that they are so close to seeing it for themselves. And then they'll look back on that. I've looked back on videos of mine where I have said things that I didn't think were possible, but yet I just did it. I did it. I was probably in the middle of doing it when I said that, and now I'm like, okay, it's like leaves of grass. Do I contradict myself? Very, very well then, I contradict myself, because I'm not the same person that I was months ago when I made that video, or years ago when I made that mistake, or tried to, pitch a fit to control things that I never should have been in the first place. If you have to pitch a fit, if you have to do one of those tantrums to make things like the way that you want them in your life, those things that you are surrounding yourself with are not the things for you. They're not the things that are healthy for your life in the first place. Because even though you might have to fight for things and work hard for things, you will never have to try and control other people with your anger if it was meant to be in your life in the first place, ever. So that's your first indicator. It's the red flag of yourself. You don't even have to recognize a red flag in someone else. If you are having to lose control of yourself to try and make someone else controlled, then that is all the red flag you need to know that skirt, swerve, that's not it. This ain't it. Let's go down a different road. Wrong road. But yeah, I'm getting off, but it keeps reminding me of examples in which I have been there myself, because I don't ever want you to think that I am putting myself on any kind of pedestal. This is purely, hopefully, partly entertainment and partly educational for you guys, and you can use it if you want. You can not use it if you want. Take it or leave it. I don't care, but it's out there for you if you ever need it. That's all I'm doing it for. That's the whole reason that I'm doing it. But God bless Taylor. I love him, even if he has hatred towards some of the things that I've used. I don't think that, and he does say that spirituality and Christianity are very, very much alike, but it's the semantics. It's that in the spiritual, they're talking about the same things with different words attached. In Christianity, they will talk about things in order to, like, condemn, and that's what makes spirituality feel so freeing, because they're not doing that. Even though we might be on the same track using different terminology, that the condemnation is just not, it's not helpful, and it turns people off. That's why they say, you know, it's easier to, what is it, to draw flies with honey. And they don't use that. They don't use that. And I've also seen that with other people, you know, when they say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I have come across many channels, like that Love Story for No One, like, It Was All a Dream. Danique, I saw her on an interview, being interviewed by someone else the other day, and not just on her own platform, and I was like, yes, girl, she's being interviewed by other podcasters now. That's amazing. But all of those channels appeared when I was ready to hear it, and years ago, or even months ago, I would have seen that and it would have gone right over my head. So when I was ready for it, it appeared to me. And so I think with anybody, when you're ready to really take it in and to be able to use it constructively and not be offended by it and not be triggered by it, not be so insecure that you can't learn from it and put it into practice, that will appear to you. It will appear to you and when you're ready. And all of those things did that for me. And hopefully Taylor will have something that does that for him. Something that holds a mirror up to him, to where he can say that, yes, some of the things that I do and some of the things that I say might turn people off, when in other ways I'm really helping so many people. If I would just not do that, it would be so much more helpful. And the reason that I'm doing that, let's do the shadow work and get to the root of it and start picking it apart, so that I can forgive others and forgive myself and show that grace and be that grace, be an example for others, and put it into practice in my own life. That he will realize that there are many traumas and many wounds in his life that are causing him to still be in that mode, that protector, you know, self-defense mode that he's in, which is a bit of a turnoff. And if he would just work on those things, his platform would be so much bigger and reach so many more people, and they would be more likely to take it in without those bits of anger and sour things that where he throws in those little jabs every now and then, or where he doesn't ride the fence on things, like putting this person or this modality down and that modality down, that he could see that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's all fourth density. Spirituality and Christianity are like the boosters on a rocket, you know, when the shuttle goes so far, like the boosters have to get them to a certain level of the atmosphere before they can let them fall away. I see the boosters, the rocket boosters, that's Christianity, that's spirituality, that's whatever modality that you use to get you to the edge of the 5D, and then when you get to the 5D, you can drop those boosters away because you don't need them anymore. You have already been propelled to the next level of density where you can float and fly and exist free of all of those constraints, all of the fourth level densities. You don't need it anymore. That's why it's semantics, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Once you are at a certain level of understanding, once you have done a certain amount of shadow work, you've done those baby steps. It's started to be a lifestyle for you. You are free of the old construct. You don't need to ask those same questions. You don't need to cling to those modalities anymore. You are above it. You are operating in a different set of, I would say, not rules. They're not rules, but a different lifestyle. It's so much lighter. It reminds me of this lady that has dementia, that this guy does videos. It's her son-in-law that helps take care of her, but he does videos on Facebook, and she'll say, heavy, heavy, heavy. She always says, love you, love you, love you. Heavy, heavy, heavy. And people are always like, why is she saying heavy all the time? And she's just she forgets words, so she creates her own like vocabulary and what she calls things now. But I often think of it as she's getting ready to transition. She is not where we are anymore, and often she gets sad and lonely and angry because she can't remember things or people and all this stuff, and she worries, and it's just a lot of anxiety, a lot of repetition, unsettled energy, and that's heavy. So I think she's spot on when she says heavy, 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 because lower densities are heavy. They are heavy. They weigh you down. They make you feel upset and angry and frustrated, and you try to control things that you never had control over in the first place. All you ever have control over is yourself. And once you learn that, and once you surrender, you're much lighter. Things aren't so heavy, heavy, heavy anymore. So she's about to, God love her soul, rejoin the source consciousness after her physical body dies. And I think what she does feel now is very heavy, and I am excited for her transition when she no longer has to feel heavy anymore. And I want that for all of you guys while you're still here. I want you to level up. I want you to ascend with the least amount of trauma, pain, and suffering as possible, so that you can be lighter, 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 without having to be so hurt, so broken. I don't want it to have to come to that point before you can start to feel how free that you were all along, and that all of those things were holding you down because you were letting them. You were letting them. You have to give it permission before it takes a hold over you, and you have to not want to see the truth before you repeat the cycle or stay stuck in it. It's all up to you. It's your choice. You are the creator of your own reality. You are powerful. You are limitless. You are divine. And I love you. God loves you. And you are never, ever alone. Bye, guys.